Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Company Heroes 2 replay. And today it's 2 vs 2 on Crossing in the Woods. And I found this map, I found this replay rather, on coh2.org, the replays section. And it was entitled How to Stop a Blobber, or How to Punish a Blobber, rather. And it had a few good replies on it. Lots of controversy, so I think it'll be a pretty good cast. But first and foremost, the players. Up top, we have the Allies. We have the Russian Crash. U.S. Forces, Validuz. And on the bottom here, OKW. Sturm Tiger. Or, excuse me, we have Timo as the OKW. And outcoming the Schwere Wehrmacht Schlepper. And the Wehrmacht is Sturm Tiger Aladdin. And with this map, it's definitely good to have the middle, but problem is, there's lots of space for everybody to attack each other with machine guns, anti-tank weapons, things like that. Sturm Pioneers taking the first standard territory point. And the Kubel wagon for the OKW moving out first. Engineers also taking the standard territory point. So nobody's really rushing towards the fuel this game or anything like that. U.S. forces now moving over to the fuel. And the OKW now just moving over to the field with the Sturm Pioneers and moving ahead a little bit with the Kubel wagon to see if they can stop any aggressive movement. Now the Russians were sort of prevented from getting to the standard territory point, which is their standard territory point. Anything basically on the other side of the river here belongs to the Russians, and anything on the bottom side is pretty much the Axis territory at the moment. Penal troops moving up to the Kubel wagon, gonna get some good hits on it. Might take it out here with its very, very light armor. Kubel wagon backing up for its life. Got the pedal to the metal there, and just might make it out of there. Indeed, but he has lost the main gun on it, so it's pretty much useless until repaired. Sturm Pioneers running away from the penal battalions, trying to get out of there before they suffer any losses. U.S. side moving down towards the Wehrmacht side. Volksgrenadiers firing back at these riflemen, and another set of riflemen moving down to take the Axis standard territory point. However, these riflemen are going to be facing engineers and Volksgrenadiers, so I don't think they're going to make that. But the riflemen do have the cover, and these guys do not have the cover. Taking the munitions point, and engineers moving on to the fuel point. Riflemen down to 3, engineers down to 3, and the Volksgrenadiers had to move back behind the truck there to take some cover. Engineers slowly taking back this fuel point, and also moved down here with the penal battalions to take the Axis standard territory point. 3 grenadier squads starting to blob up a little bit in the victory point. The Axis have both victory points in the center and the left, and Allies only have 1, so slowly losing the Allies, but it's only 491 to 500 right now, so not a big deal. Engineers get inside the building for a little bit of cover, but I don't think that's going to work too well against 2 squads of grenadiers. However, the penal battalions coming down to flank them a little bit, but getting flanked themselves by another set of grenadiers, so a little sandwich action going on both ways. 2 squads of used riflemen moving out in Axis territory, taking the standard munitions point rather, and these grenadiers or riflemen just keeping watch. Axis taking back their side now with grenadiers, and now moving up towards the Russian side a little bit, possibly take the standard territory point. Our MG42 heavy machine gun team moving out, try and get some suppression on troops. Now we have a clown car moving around, the M3A1 light scout car with penal battalions with a flamethrower, often referred to as the clown car because of all the troops inside this little tiny car, and they're quite annoying to deal with sometimes. Although grenadiers usually can hit it with a Panzerfaust, doing quite a bit of damage to that tank, or light scout car, usually taking out the engine in one hit. And here comes some grenadiers now, probably trying to get a Panzerfaust hit on this. And this one's whipping out the Panzerfaust now and takes a hit, but he gets the penal battalions out before he takes the hit, so no big loss there. MG42 squad moving in towards this M3A1 scout car. Pino Battalion's fighting for their lives against 2 Grenadier squads and this Kubel wagon that is in suppression mode. 2 squads of Pino Battalions and combat engineers pushing away the Axis, taking back their standard territory points, and the U.S. remaining a little bit neutral here. Not really taking too much of the Axis side, but holding their own side, which is good enough. 2 squads of riflemen fighting these Volksgrenadiers with Panzerschrecks and a Kubel wagon in suppression mode. So that's not going to work out too well. We're not going to be able to really get to this Kubel wagon in suppression mode, and right now they have a battle group headquarters right next to it, so all the troops can simply just reinforce and heal. Not a good spot for the Americans to be in right now. Now they're getting suppressed and pinned. Going to have to retreat out of there pretty soon. Over this side, engineers trying to move up on the American side. Got a little bit caught up on all this tank trap and barbed wire. Engineers trying to defend this munitions point as they capture it, but not going to happen with these Storm Pioneers and the MG42 all setting up. Take a quick look at the commanders. The Ally side has yet to choose a commander. Or no, they did. The Airborne Company for the Americans, but the Russians did not choose a commander. The Wehrmacht have not chosen a commander yet, but the OKW has chosen the Fortifications Doctrine. Actually pretty popular choice for the OKW. MG42 sitting here with the munitions point, just about to capture it, and going to hold it pretty good with that good cover. Kubel wagon in suppression mode, fighting this lieutenant squad here, and going to have to get out of there. Not going to be able to handle that Kubel wagon once it's in suppression mode. Kind of have to get at them before they can set up in that suppression mode. 3 Pino Battalion squads moving up on this MG42, and they are desperately trying to get out of there because there's a flamethrower and plenty of ammo being fired at them. Another Pino Battalion squad moving in. They may take this victory point. They're sort of moving around it. This one might stay here to take it. There we go. And the blob has begun with the Pino Battalions, but Pino Battalions actually are pretty good. However, there's not a lot of buildings on this map, and they're really good against buildings because Satchel Charge, I actually think it was recently nerfed, but the Satchel Charge typically takes out a building in one throw. If you just throw it into even a small building, such as this, it'll take it down in one explosion, taking out any troops that are in the building with it. Volksgrenadiers running for their lives with Panzerschrecks, while 2 U.S. Forces squads fire upon them. However, the Kubel wagon is in suppression mode, forcing these U.S. forces to retreat out of here. Pino Battalions running for their lives while trying to take the fuel point here. But there are 3 Grenadier squads, so kind of a blob versus blob at the moment. Grenadier blob versus the Pino Battalion blob. However, the Pino Battalion blob is sort of mixed around right now and sort of away from each other a little bit. A quick tip, it takes 3 Pino Battalions satchels. If you throw 3 at the same time on the battle group headquarters or the OKW structures, they will get destroyed. So he could take these 3, and if he could make it over here, just throw 3 at once. Costs quite a bit of munitions to do that, 45 each, so would it be 135 munitions total to destroy this, but pretty well worth it because it takes a while to get another Schwerer Wehrmacht Schlepper. Now 3 Grenadier squads, all with LMGs, moving up pretty intimidating little squad here. There's going to be a lot of fire coming in at these Pino Battalions. Going to need to move these Pino Battalions up closer to these Grenadiers here so that he can set them on fire. While the MG42 squad sort of guards this area here. I'd like to see it a little bit more like that. Now we have even more Axis Volksgrenadiers moving in at this section over here, and these Pino Battalions are definitely have to get out of there. There's just too many forces moving towards them. We have an M15A1 AA half truck. Pretty good truck. Takes a little while to set up though. Some airborne paratroopers, squads of riflemen, all holding their side pretty well. The U.S. forces doesn't seem to really be moving too forward, and they don't really seem to be getting pushed back either. So, doing what they need to do, while the Russian and the Wehrmacht go back and forth on the left side. Engineers, fighting engineers. But these engineers are in big trouble because there's shock troops and 2 Pino Battalion squads with flamethrowers coming at these engineers pretty fast. And I'd like to see him fire it on those engineers at least. Yep, there we go. And instantly taking out a man. One man left. May lose it, but gets away with his life. At the moment, nope, gets taken down by those paratroopers. A little bit of bad luck running into those there. Again, the Axis now can just simply run back to this battle group headquarters and repair. So big advantage for them right now on this small map with the battle going on right next to it. Paratroopers running away. Shock troopers moving in on these. They can throw a grenade near here. They do some pretty big damage. Here comes the grenade now. Taking out lots of those Volksgrenadiers. That's going to cost the Axis quite a bit of money to replace all of those. And takes out the final man too, so even more money to replace those. When I refer to money, I refer to manpower, which is basically the same thing. Grenadiers trying to heal up a little bit. Pino battalions moving in with their flamethrowers. Moving in a little unnecessary on this big group. There is just way too much Axis firepower here for one Pino battalion squad, so he is definitely running for his life. And again, the U.S. forces simply holding the right side, not really doing too much. Now they have taken some of the Axis side, so the U.S. force is doing very good on this map. Holding their own and also taking a little bit of the Axis resources. Adding a little bit to the Allies, taking a little bit from the Axis. Two Grenadier squads moving up. One's going to take this standard territory point. One's going to take this munitions. A pretty good idea to split up your troops and take multiple things at once. Some engineers moving up, trying to take this standard territory back. But there's a lieutenant squad here, and he could sure he could move out of here and get behind this fence and start assaulting that. But incoming shock troops and even more Pino battalions, the never-ending Pino battalion squads moving on in. Shock troops moving in on these Volksgrenadiers and Grenadiers with their automatic rifles, very good at close range. And flamethrowers taking out a man and another one with just one shot. Incoming Katyusha barrage. Let's see where this is heading. Right on the battle group headquarters. Let's see if it takes out any troops here. Almost a direct hit on those Stern Pioneers, but didn't seem to take any of them out. Kind of a shame. We have the Schwerer Panzer headquarters directly behind that, so anything that's going to try and come up along here is going to run into the Schwerer Panzer headquarters, which is going to do quite a bit of damage to anything that moves in there. Paratroopers and Lieutenant holding the center point. Riflemen seem to be on patrol, moving back and forth. Might be taking this standard territory point back from the Axis. Looks like we have a incendiary barrage on the battle group headquarters. Unfortunately, nothing is there right now, so it's not going to do too much. Do a little bit of damage to the battle group headquarters, but we have incoming paratroopers and a lieutenant on this Granatwerfer and this PaK-40. And they're not going to really be able to defend themselves too well, except the Schwerer Panzer headquarters now firing at with its incredibly long range, instantly suppressing troops, making them run. Pino battalions taking back the fuel point, but probably not for long, because there is a big old force coming. Volksgrenadiers, Stern Pioneers, Obersoldaten, and an MG42 squad moving all towards this area here. 3 Grenadier squads with LMGs fighting these paratroopers, which instantly destroyed them. It was just way too much firepower on those Grenadiers. Rifleman squad moving up on these Volksgrenadiers and 2 squads of Volksgrenadiers, but only with one left. That one's going to have to retreat, and these 2 American squads are going to defeat the Axis squads and move up and claim their munitions point. We have a Sherman coming in, and it already has its 50 cal Browning machine gun almost completed. I actually see a lot of players that don't actually even bother to get the machine gun on the top of their tanks, which does great deal of damage to infantry, but that PaK-40 there is going to have to back off from that. Pino battalions running away from the left side victory point, and Axis taking back the left side fuel point. Incoming Katyusha barrage. I think it took out some troops there. Didn't take out any from this squad here. And this PaK-40 is going to move right into the barrage zone, but really lucks out on that one.
Awaiting fire mission. How can we help?
Granatwerfer moving up. Probably going to heal up at the battle group headquarters. MG42 moving up with Obersoldaten. Going to challenge these shock troops for the left side victory point. Score so far, 467 to 367. in favor of the Allies, as they typically have had more of the victory points.
Supply sector under attack.
The Wehrmacht now choosing a commander of the close air support doctrine, as well as the Russians. Chose it a while ago, but the shock rifle frontline tactics.
Heavy flamethrower tanks are now available.
Incoming Volksgrenadiers. Neither of these Volksgrenadiers has Panzerschrecks, which is a shame because they could have done a couple of, got a couple hits off on this Sherman, forcing the Allies to sit and repair it. Grenadiers taking the standard territory point, but moving out of it. Not sure what they're. Even they aren't sure what they were doing there for a second. Obersoldaten running away from the penal battalion with a flamethrower. And Crash seems to really love his penal battalions.
Lines blunted. Now we wait. Ready. Go ahead.
The penal battalions in this game have semi-automatic rifles, which allow them to fire a little bit faster than conscripts. So they do more damage than conscripts, do more damage than grenadiers because there's 6 of them. So they typically win out, like against grenadiers. Shock troops against these Volksgrenadiers. 2 sets of Volksgrenadiers with Panzerschrecks, and they're going to do some pretty good damage to these Volksgrenadiers as they're running away because of the automatic rifles. But now they're going to need to get out of there. There's just way too much. 2 machine guns set up. They're going to get suppressed, have to retreat out of there. And that is the problem with running too far ahead. You're going to run into machine guns, get suppressed, and going to have to move out of there. Grenadiers taking the munitions point where the Sherman spotted it, but went by a little too quick there. Riflemen versus Grenadiers. Grenadiers running. Riflemen will have that standard territory point. Grenadiers taking this munitions point back. I think the tank should move up a little bit and start assaulting those. An MG42 guarding the bridge entrance with some Grenadiers.
Grenadiers ready.
2 Volksgrenadiers moving up with Panzerschrecks. Getting ready for that Sherman.
Grenadiers ready.
And we still have the Katusha all the way in the back here, ready to fire. Its barrage is not complete yet, so it cannot fire for about 35 seconds.
This is what we're trained for.
We have a PaK-43 88mm anti-tank gun, one of the best anti-tank guns in the game, being created here, and it has an incredible range. So any tank that's going to be moving along here is going to get hit very hard. It takes about 2 hits, and it basically destroys any medium tank. PaK-40 being brought up, hitting that Sherman directly in its front armor. Doing a little bit of damage, but the front armor is the best armor on a tank, so didn't do too much. Incoming lieutenant and riflemen around the side here, getting a flank on. And it looks like an incendiary barrage also being dropped on this section, forcing these all to retreat, but not going to get too much because they retreated immediately. And instantly suppress these troops with close air support with the Stuka anti-infantry strafe. And incoming Katusha barrage on these mortars. MG42 and the PaK-40. PaK-40 taking a direct hit, losing all the troops out of that. Gonna have to grab that back and reinforce all the troops. Over on this side, shock troops taking the left side fuel point, but busy fighting off these Stern Pioneers right now. If they can fight off these Stern Pioneers and get these out of the question, then this PaK-43 will be very vulnerable. However, Volksgrenadiers coming along to reinforce this area. 2-star shock troops putting up a pretty good fight, but retreating him out of there, making sure he saves those. Pedo battalions sitting here for some protection. Paratroopers. And Sherman moving up a little too far. I'm not sure exactly what it's doing because it doesn't have any infantry backup, so it's just kind of moving up, seeing if it can do any damage here. Fighting these flak emplacements, 2-centimeter flak emplacements. They don't do too much to tanks, but they will eventually destroy a tank. They do a little bit of damage, depending on where they hit the tank. Looks like lots of forces moving over to the right here to react against this tank. And we now have an IS-2 heavy tank moving in from Crash. But unfortunately, we have the entire Axis force moving along. 2 Panzerschrecks. The PaK-40 moving in. Gonna hit this Sherman with the PaK-40. Do some pretty big damage now. 2 Panzerschrecks. 3 Panzerschrecks gonna hit. And losing that Sherman. Big loss for the Allies. And desperately trying to get that IS-2 out of there, but the Axis leave it to retreat. Now the victory point, neutral.
I can't move, but I can still shoot.
Not too much going on over here. Just engineers with a flamethrower could move up to this Pack 43. Do some damage to that. IS-2 still sitting over here. Didn't retreat it all the way back. Now we have an M36 Jackson tank destroyer. I believe it has a 90mm cannon, and it does quite a bit of damage, but unfortunately they're very weak tanks in terms of their armor. Paratroopers assaulting this MG42 heavy machine gun, and it is going to back out of there because there's just way too much firepower moving in. IS-2 moving in close, trying to get something done here, and this Schwerer Panzer is going to fire on this IS-2. Not going to do too much of it, but over time it will destroy it. Going to have to retreat these troops out of here, all suppressed. But they will get up in time, but it depends on if they get fired on again. Panzer V moving in, going to challenge this IS-2. Still a battle going on over for the left side. The Axis have taken the fuel point. Axis looks like they're going to take this victory point. And Panzer V gets flanked. Didn't see it. And took a hit in the side armor there. But two Pack 40s setting up to hit this IS-2. So he's going to definitely want to get out of there. Doesn't want to take 2 hits from Pack 40. And here comes the Panzer V to return the favor. Might get another side armor hit. But IS-2 moving its turret very slowly. Going to have to back it up so they can move that turret a little bit easier. Now we got a full brawl going over here between this IS-2 and this Panzer V. Both of them about even health. But now the Jackson tank destroyer wants to get in on the action. Panzer V half health. IS-2 moving in close to it, and so is the Jackson tank destroyer. Battle going on over here, but the Russians are just absolutely outnumbered with the blob of the Axis. 3 Panzerschrecks and Obersoldaten all fighting that. Panzer V looks like it got away, and IS-2 gave up chase. Both sides are going to have to repair their tanks and spend the time doing so. Comes some rear echelon troops looking to repair this IS-2. Axis moving up on the Russian side now. Going to take some precious resources from the ally. 2-star shock troops moving in, but I don't think it's going to be enough against 3 Volksgrenadier squads. But they may be able to do some damage, especially if they chuck a grenade at the right. But looks like the Volksgrenadiers also have a flamethrower. Yeah, one of those Volksgrenadiers has a flamethrower running around. Kind of interesting. Center being contested. Moving up these Pack 40s. Might get a hit on this Jackson tank destroyer if it doesn't react. Yeah, 2 hits on that Jackson tank destroyer, taking it down to half health. Less than half health. And that is the problem with the Jackson tank destroyer. Big loss for the Allies. Just simply too low of armor. It is a medium tank, but it's like a low medium tank. And although it does good damage, very good damage, but very weak too. So it's like a glass cannon, if you will. 2 rifleman squads and a Pino Battalion squad fighting 3 Volksgrenadier and the Obersoldaten, trying to take over the left side again. Meanwhile, the Grenadiers taking the munitions point, and center point has been taken by the Axis. So now the Axis have 2 victory points. Incoming Katyusha barrage, but seem to have missed everything. Sort of a poor shot. Score 462. Axis 204. Shock troops engaging these Obersoldaten. They're going to have to run out of there. Shock troops just a little bit too much for Obersoldaten. IS-2 moving in against these Grenadiers. And the Pack 40s have changed position to hit this IS-2, so it's going to take a couple hits there and move out. Pino Battalions here, taking out the Pack 43 with flamethrowers and their rifles, but definitely going to have to move out of there because there's a lot of German firepower on them. 2 Pack 40s moving out. Lone rifleman trying to take over this victory point, neutralizes it, but going to have to get out of there. Just barely misses that Gewehr Granate. Shock troops having to retreat instantly to that triple Panzerschreck and flamethrower. Pretty wicked combination.
You need something built?
Engineers taking over some of this right side munitions point. Major sitting here in good cover, trying to stop these incoming Panzerschrecks. here comes Engineers with a flamethrower. Gonna start trying to light them up. And incoming, lots of American troops moving in, 57mm anti-tank gun. However, CAS comes along, suppresses all these troops, but the IS-2 moving in, firing some rounds. However, the IS-2 is really outgunned here as there's two PaK-40s and triple Panzerschrecks. An incoming Stuka bomb. Doesn't really hit much. Might have got a troop there.
Shock troops have arrived.
Axis holding the entire left side. And again, the right side pretty much owned by the Allies. One squad of riflemen being brave, taking the victory point with multiple weapons pointed directly at them.
I smell orders.
MG42 moving up a little closer, trying to get some suppression on these riflemen, but must not be able to see it, must be just out of sight range. Engineers versus some Grenadiers, they're not going to win that fight with the LMG and 3-star. The Gervais rifle grenade hitting the spot, missing the riflemen, the Engineers, but it did destroy the mine that they had placed.
Redouble your efforts. We are down to 200 points.
Triple Panzerschrecks moving in on this victory point in the middle here. Now we have a Su-85 and the IS-2 in the middle guarding. Shock troops and Penal battalions getting suppressed here against an MG-42 and this Obersoldaten with an LMG-34. Engineers trying to take the left side fuel point, but this Panzer V has other things to say about that, firing on them. They remanned the PaK-43, so moving a tank over this way is not a good idea. It's just simply not. This can two-shot any tank, basically. Incoming Stuka barrage misses, but neutralizes the point. Triple Panzerschrecks moving up to take that victory point back. And over here, Grenadiers taking this right side victory point. Riflemen moving up on these PaK-40s. They're pretty much defenseless here. Going to have to move out of there, but they retreat before they suffer any losses. IS-2 over here, regulating the situation, making some Grenadiers run away. Su-85 still in the center, looking for something. However, the only armor for the Germans is all the way over here.
It's time for action. Send your orders.
The ye ol' Volksgrenadier blob
Ready weapons.
taking the munitions point and the victory point from the Allies. And two Grenadier squads moving up against a paratrooper squad. However, there's a lot more firepower for the Germans here, as they have two LMGs, a couple PaK-40s that can turn around, and Granatwerfer 34 mortar team running those paratroopers away.
Shake it out. We're moving.
Allies taking back the right side victory point to turn the game back into their favor. However, it kind of already is because the score is 443 to 178. Big Russian movement over here. Two shock troops, Engineers, Penal battalion, and another group of Engineers, but no answer for this Panzer V. Not going to be able to do anything to that, but may be able to take out this PaK-43, which is going to be a big win for the Allies. Setting up a bunker over here, that's going to be trouble for the Russians. It's going to be hard to take that out without some kind of anti-tank or mortars. And Russians are in full retreat. Although they had a big force, the suppression from the MG-42 and the triple Volksgrenadier blob, simply too much. Now the Axis will grab the victory point, the center point, leaving the Allies with just the right side. Flip-flopping the sides once again. Su-85 and the IS-2 have moved over to the right side in anticipation for an assault on the right side, but unfortunately it's all on the left. And if they bring any tanks over here in any range along through here, they will be just out of range of this PaK-43, but moving it any closer than that,
Warning orders, gang.
they'll take some big hits.
Warning orders, gang.
Two paratrooper squads and a rifleman squad moving in, but there is an MG-42, and each of these bunkers instantly suppressing these troops. Like I said, going to be very hard for the Allies to regain this side. Very hard to take out bunkers. You're going to need mortars, you're going to need anti-tank to hit them. A little bit difficult to get to them. especially in that position. So I think at the moment they'd be better off with the middle and the right side victory points. Panzer V moving over to the right side. Triple Volksgrenadier blob also moving to the right side, where we have 2 Grenadier squads trying to contest the middle here, but not going to really be able to do it because there's just a little bit too much Allied firepower here. However, the MG42, if they get too close on this, just barely getting on the outside of this is the best bet, because they're going to get suppressed if you get too close. But we do have a 50 cal machine gun also for the Allies on the other side, suppressing any German troops that move up along this. And over here we have the Panzer V engaging the IS-2 and the Su-85, taking some big hits, but however, the Volksgrenadier has taken some big hits from the Katusha, real big hits, losing 2 squads. Big loss for the Axis. That they were very high veterancy. Now moving over the PaK-40s to engage these 2 tanks, because they know that the assault is coming from the right side now. In the middle, still fighting over the middle here. The victory point still neutral, but being taken by the Axis, so that will be in German hands very soon. Paratroopers, big group of paratroopers moving in on these PaK-40s. Going to take these out. Ooh, but CAS saves them just in time. They may be able to get out of there now. However, incendiary barrage coming down right on this PaK-40, so some of these are going to burn. Losing a couple units there, not too much. Oh, a whole squad died there. Very unlucky. Now, Germans moving up on the standard territory points. Russians trying to re-neutralize the middle victory point. However, getting suppressed by the MG42. A good idea, throwing smoke there will stop the MG42 from firing shock troops. Very, very useful in this game. Smoke is the meta indeed. Preventing the Germans from firing at these shock troops. However, now the smoke fading, but did take the capture point. A couple riflemen over here fighting over Soldaten. We're going to have to move out of there. Going to lose that fight. Grenadiers taking the munitions point. Now the Allies have both the victory points, leaving the Germans with just one. At 419 to 167, Allies so far winning dominantly. Paratroopers moving in on these Grenadiers. Although they do have the LMG, these all have submachine guns. Going to do a lot of damage up close. Going to have to keep moving those out of there. These should stop and begin firing on the paratroopers. Now retaking the middle with the Panzer V. Penal battalion's taken over there. 50 cal machine gun firing and brought up the MG42 all the way up front here. An incoming Katusha barrage. Not really going to be able to hit much. May take out this MG42, but which would help him out quite a bit, because he's getting suppressed every time he comes along here. Here comes the Panzer V moving up. Su-85 just coming out. Gonna get a big hit on that, but misses. And now they know that Panzer V is in the middle, so they are moving these tanks over here. But it's going to be a little bit too late, because that's going to get out of there in time. And it looks like the Axis have surrendered, and the Allies win 414 to 163. So both sides blobbing a little bit, but not that big a deal. There was some posts on the forums saying that they were blobbing either way, but not that big a deal. I think it was a great game. I thought it was a great game to watch and to cast. And I hope you guys enjoyed the content, and I will see you guys next time.